Welcome back to Pop Culture Theory. I am Saccora, and we are here live today to do our new comic book day picks of the week. I have a handful of picks here that we're going to go through today. I'm quite excited to talk about them with you. You guys can see from my first pick here, I am going to be talking about the brand new Power Rangers book. And I haven't opened this cover yet. We're going to do a live opening, find out which cover I got inside of my mystery bag. So, let's go ahead and go through a couple of these. Now, as I mentioned, Power Rangers is one of my picks of the week. At the end of this video, I'll go ahead and do an opening of my bagged version of the Power Rangers, and we're going to see which Power Ranger cover I got. It's probably no surprise to anyone that Doomsday Clock has made my pick of the week here. This was a phenomenal read. This is the Rorschach edition for the Doomsday Clock. It explains kind of Rorschach's story going into Doomsday Clock, and it has some twists and turns like what we've been seeing with Doomsday Clock already. It had some other characters involved. Maybe the most prominent one is Mothman. I'm going to show you guys only one scene from this. Don't want to spoil too much today, but there will be just some light spoilers. So you guys can see, here we go, Mothman flying off in the distance there. I was very intrigued by this. This is my favorite entry of the Doomsday Clock yet. So, highly recommend it. Pick it up. There are two different covers for this that I've seen. Next up, I'm all about Saga number 50 this week. This is chapter 50 of one of my absolute favorite books. I'm not going to show you any of the contents inside, mostly because let's just say the content's starting off on the very first page are very adult-oriented. Next up, we're going to go to our one Marvel book of the week. This is going to be Daredevil number 600, Mayor Fisk. This one I've been waiting for a while. I'm quite excited by it. It's a great jumping on point for Daredevil in the Legacy comics. If you guys have been looking for a place to get into Daredevil and you haven't yet, I highly recommend jumping on with Daredevil number 600. All right, moving on to some of our DC books, or another one of our DC books here. Mira, Queen of Atlantis. We've got Mira versus Ocean Master in this. I have been loving the Mira series, and this one just kind of takes the peak. I was looking for what my fourth book would be this week, or fifth book, I guess, with Power Rangers included, and Mira was the one that I ended up going with. That being said, I do have three honorable mentions. I really had a hard time choosing this week, so I want to go over those ones as well. Now, I've been loving the Mira book. I've been loving the art in the Mira book, and as it shows right off the cover, you guys can see Ocean Master makes his debut return in this book. So, I highly recommend it if you guys like the Aquaman and Mira stuff. I've been really into it. It was a really hard choice between Mira and Raven for that pick of the week slot there. I ended up going with Mira, but I've also really been enjoying this Raven, Daughter of Darkness. This is number 3. It's one of my honorable mentions of this week. I've been loving the book. I love the artwork in the book. This one just is getting better and better as we get some traveling through time stuff going on, and it just looks awesome. So I highly recommend that one if you haven't seen it yet. I'm sure a bunch of you were wondering where this one was. It made my honorable mention list, not my main list, and that is Dark Knight's Metal. Ultimately, I decided with Metal coming out on the same week as Doomsday Clock, I had to choose between them. I read both, and this week I loved the Dark Knight's Metal story, but Doomsday Clock just barely edged it out. It's probably that Rorschach in there. I've always been a huge fan. So, that being said, I do really like Dark Knight's Metal. There's some gruesome fighting and stuff going on between Joker and Batman Who Laughs. I wanted to show this one page here off to y'all, but I highly recommend you give it a read. It's been a great series, and it's hard to get your hands on. Some of the Dark Knight's Metal ones have been a pain to get. My final comic we're going to talk about real quick before we do our bag opening is The Labyrinth Coronation number 2. Another one that I was tempted to throw onto my picks of the week, but it just didn't quite make it into the top 5. It's definitely one of my honorable mentions. It's in my top picks still, just didn't make the top 5 there. I've been really liking the story. If you guys are familiar with Jim Henson's The Labyrinth, it's really good. I loved that first issue. Liked this one a lot too. Now, that brings us back to our number 1 pick here, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I am really loving this book. The Power Rangers books have been fun. If you guys are into the Power Rangers, the art has like this fun kid-like twist to it, but it also has some adult storylines going on. I don't know, it's great. That being said, this week there was some special Power Rangers bagged issues that you don't know what cover you're going to get inside, and I figured I would end today's episode by figuring out exactly what we got inside of this. So, while I'm getting this all set up, I will mention I'm Saccora. You guys can find me around the web at Saccora, and you can check out Pop Culture Theory around the web at Pop Culture Theory. We're going to do this live opening here. We have a couple of giveaways we're doing this week, and we have just finished up our last giveaways from the last month. If you guys want to check out some of our other videos for giveaways, there isn't a comic-related one this month. I think I'm going to try to fit comics into next month again. So that peels off pretty nice. Some of these bad comics sometimes can be a pain, and I worry about bending the comic when I open them. But this one opened pretty nice, and it looks like we got Green Ranger. Oh, quite exciting. I personally was actually hoping for the Blue Ranger, but I'm okay with this. Green Ranger's probably my second choice there. So there we go. Power Rangers, Shattered Grid, Green Ranger cover was inside of my bag. I'm really excited by that. I was hoping for the Blue Ranger one, but Green Ranger is my second choice by far. Thank you all for tuning in. I am Saccora.